What's up, everybody? We're chilling with Cholo Baby, hanging out in the fish room. Got books? Need books. Today we're going to talk about plants. Easy ones, hard ones. Glossostigma, something. I don't know. Some of these plants have been here about a month. I'm going to show you easy ones, hard ones. Go through different things. Just kind of give you a general idea of, hey, I want plants in my tank. These fake ones are ugly, like that right there, fake one. But I can't put anything in there because it's a redhead sinspillum, a vieja, and it will eat it if I put real ones in there. So anyway, I just want to kind of go through plants. Easy stuff to keep: marimoa, mossballs. Some other ones that could be like hornwort. Different bunch plants, potted plants, the difference between them all, and kind of show you what's going on. Let's turn this thing around, take a look. Here we go. All right, so this is one of the bins that the plants are in. Let's take a look. This is a Brazilian sword. All right, let's go through the lighting first, I guess. These lights right here, they're 4,000 Kelvin. There's two of them, each on different, tubs here. These tubs, I have about 4 inches of water in. It's just enough to cover the plant, I guess you could say. So yeah, there's that. All right, let's talk about a super easy plant floater. You're looking at frog bit, red root floaters. Those are super easy too. So if you want floaters, and then the infamous duckweed, that once you get this in your tank, you're not getting rid of it unless you got goldfish. Just the way it is. Let's talk about this plant right here. We're going to show up on video. This is a Madagascar lace. This one here is just huge now. When I got it, it was tiny, similar to this one. See how small that is? So Madagascar lace in this light has been doing pretty well. This plant right here likes a lot of flow. So if you have one of those high flow tanks, this guy, boom, you're going to want it in there. These plants here, they do go dormant, so they need a dormant period. You'll see them like start to die back, and you're like, hey, my plant's dying. No, it's not. So anyway, what you're going to do is when it goes dormant, you'll take it out, put it in some sand, and just like some moist sand. Leave it in there for about 2 or 3 months. You can take it back out and plant it back in your tank, and boom, it'll take off again. Pretty cool plant. This one here, this is called narrowleaf chainsword. You guys can see the new growth coming off the top here. That's kind of what this is up here. It's a pretty simple plant. Like I said, I'm not using high-powered lights or anything. I've had this plant now for, I don't know, maybe a month now. And it's doing pretty well. It's not doing great, but it's not doing bad. So it's doing okay. Can't complain about that one. It's pretty easy to grow. Nothing too complicated there. This is called glossostigma. This one here, you can see it's kind of had a little bit of a dieback on it. That's because it was in a tannin tank and just wasn't getting enough light. You do need a bit of light. It kind of gives you the care guide here, moderate to strong light. So anyway, it's a good plant. It's beautiful anyway, and it does take a little bit of time. This one here, this is another Brazilian sword. Let me get the dirt off of it. Brazilian swords, most swords are going to be pretty easy to grow. Different ones. They're not complicated. Simple. Amazon sword, I have a huge one inside. But this one, for the most part, I hear a lot of people have trouble with these plants. I don't really understand it. I do pretty well with them, especially the Amazon. I had 2 inside that are just massive. When you get die-off, stuff like this right here, you're just going to cut it off and, good to go. This plant right here, if you're looking for something that is super easy to grow, and I'll show you the tank here in a second. This is dwarf Sagittaria. It grows in pretty much all conditions. This one here says moderate light, so I mean, this thing is just thriving. I pulled a lot of runners off of this thing, like you see the one right there. I pull them out and I plant it in this other tank, and I'll show you that here in just a second. Really easy. All right. So here we have the dwarf four-leaf clover. Now you see I have a lot of die-off on here, but then I have a lot of new growth. So this plant is simply adjusting to the light. So not every time when you see all the brown on there is it, you know, dying on you. Because you can see I have the new growth there. It's coming off, it's growing. So give it some time in your tank, especially the dwarf four-leaf clover. That one will eventually adjust to your light and get easier. Another glossostigma. You see we have a lot of dieback on this one. I'm just not getting enough light to it. I may move this one to my 55 with the Kessels. Just give it more light. Again, same thing with the dwarf four-leaf clover. You can see all the die-off on the top, but look at all that new growth. So dwarf four-leaf clover will adjust. It just takes time. These bunches right here, this is Monte Carlo. Right now I have it floating simply because I'm not running CO2 in this tank and I'm not running highlights. So I want the Monte Carlo floating for me, just to grow out. It is difficult to get it set into the tank because the roots are so small. But it is a great carpeting plant. It's pretty easy to grow. This isn't too complicated. If you have it low, like in a 55, you do need a good light for it. Other than that, I mean, if you have it, you know, like higher up, let's say like a 20 long, a moderate light will work for you. Let's see. CO2 is key also with that one. Wisteria. Super, super easy plant. I mean, there's no other way to put it. Wisteria is really easy. Not a lot to it. The Anacharis. This is a bunch type plant. Let me see if I can pull this out. I got it buried under another plant. Anacharis is super, super easy. Basically, I mean, you can order these lead weights. They have them on eBay, I believe. Just take the, see how big this is? Just take the lead weight, you know, on a bunch, if you order a bunch wherever, and take the lead weight, stick it in the substrate, and this thing will essentially take off. I'm actually going to take this plant out before I forget. My red lotus are finally taking off. That's what these are right here. Hope I can pull this out without damaging it. Maybe not. The tank is red, so it's hard to see it, but these red lotus, I have 3 of them in here, maybe 2 now. I forget if I sold one or not. I'm trying to pull this out so y'all can see it. And we got it. So, look at that. It's a beautiful plant. It is, you know, on the bottom you're going to see like that purple color. A lot of iron turns these, you know, a really deep red. So they love iron if you like red plants. All right, let's talk about another plant, the cardinal. You can see I've got a lot of new growth. When I got it, it was pretty small. This thing here is just taken off like a weed, really. It was tiny when I got it, but you can see now it's just exploded. And what's cool about these, you get like these big leaves here, and then all the new growth, you can have all this little small stuff. Pretty cool. And anyway, this has been a super easy plant to grow. I love it. It's really, really pretty. Good stuff there. And the lutea. Another one. All I'm doing is just fertilizing this water. I don't use root tabs or anything like that. The lutea, this is really a cool plant. You can see like it has that huge leaf there. This has been super easy to grow. I had a huge dieback on this plant, but you can see, obviously, it's coming back. So this is going to take a moderate light. It's a crypt. It's a type of cryptocornea, or whatever you call them. Dwarf baby tears. This is going to be a strong light plant with CO2. I don't have a strong light on it, so it is kind of but the CO2 is really what'll help this thing take off for you. All right, so Hygrophila compact. Great plant. Look at that. So nice. This plant here is just super, super easy to grow. You can see there it says moderate light in the back. it does stay small like this. And it does, I mean, you have the roots as runners, that kind of stuff. This one is more of a spot plant, so like you're going to set it there. It's not really going to run on you too much. So Hygrophila compact, if you guys are looking for something easy, boom, there it is. All right, now let's talk about the easiest plant you could possibly grow. Hornwort. Look at that. This is a 30-inch tall tank, or 24. How tall is this, John? 24. 24-inch tall tank. And it's all at the top. I mean, just massive. And what's cool about hornwort, like this here, you can see, is they're going to grow to the top of your tank, and then they just kind of lay over, kind of like that. Super easy. Everything you see in here are runners that I pulled out that dwarf sage, and it just goes all the way to the back. And I just grow them out, repot them. All right, another super easy plant is the pennywort. That's what that is right there. Essentially what we did was we took a lead weight, put it on the bottom here, just kind of smashed it all together, and it does like to float. It does well floating, or you can just kind of stick the lead weight in the substrate and it'll grow out for you. Super easy plant, really easy. So hornwort, pennywort, two easy plants. Another one that John here has had, Cholo Baby, has had really good luck with, and this plant has taken off, is the microsword narrowleaf. You see that right there? And it tells you strong light here, but we're running a 5400 Kelvin light. It's just a shop light actually, and this plant is just taken off. You see all the runners on the side there? This plant is just ready to explode. It's actually bursting out of the pot. So John's going to take it out of the pot today and plant it, and I can't wait to see what this thing does here in about 2 or 3 months. It's going to be huge. One more plant we're going to talk about. This is running through all these tanks here. Is, boom, the pothos. I love this plant. Absolutely love it. And I just have it kind of floating in there. And you can see the runners go up, and then it kind of dips down into this tank. It's taking root in the water there. See all the roots coming off? Crazy. And then it runs off into the next side here, goes all the way down, goes up the ceiling, goes around, drops down on the side over there, and then comes down. So, I mean, this plant is easily 20 feet long from that end to this end. Now, the cool thing about this plant is when you lay it down on something, it has something to just sit there on, like a tank lid or something like that. It grows in bunches like this. You see the bunches? But when you string it out, you see how it goes up here, takes a little curl, and then goes up, and then it stops again, and it just has a place to sit. It grows in a big bunch again. Whereas when you're stringing it, you're going to have long vines with no leaves, and then boom, all of a sudden you'll see a leaf, and then a long vine with no leaves, and boom, big clump where it's sitting. So what it's doing is it's stretching out, trying to grab the next thing. So when you get pothos, if you want it to grow in a big clump like this, set it on top of your tank lid, just put the roots in the water, and it'll grow in a big clump like this. And if you're going to hang it, you know, like hang it up on whatever, lights or something, it's going to string out, and you're going to have patches of leaves all the way down. All right, that's that. So I hope that helps you all out as far as aquarium plants go. We are getting close to 2,000 subscribers, so if you guys could share, like, comment, help us get there. I'd really appreciate it. We're really getting close. I never imagined I'd hit 1,000, and here we are close to 2. So I know I'm not at 1 million subscribers. I'm not one of those guys yet, and it may never happen, but I'm looking forward to at least getting to 2,000. Got to start somewhere. And I hope you all have a great day. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the button, and hit the notifications. I plan on putting a lot more videos out, having surgery again this coming week, and that's going to set me back a couple weeks. And then once I get through that, we'll start pumping these videos out for you. I have a lot to show you. A lot to show you. All right, guys. Talk to y'all later. Peace.